Hello, Alex Smith again, and welcome to another edition of Warehousing. Okay, we've talked a bit around the subject, but what I thought we could touch on now is the whole process of booking stuff in and dispatching stuff and picking stuff. In other words, the paperwork. Yeah, but Alex, computers don't need paperwork, blah, blah, whatever. Yeah, but it's still important to understand the process. And although we've got voice pick and scanners now, it's still important to understand what the process is and what's happening. Because it could be that rather than working in a large warehouse, you end up being the warehouse person in a one roller blind type business unit where perhaps you're doing mail order or something and you're it. So understanding the processes is quite important because not everybody will be able to buy what they need as far as stock management systems goes. Now, that said, there are some free stock management systems on the internet, but they only allow for about 100 items or so 100 different product ranges. After that, then you have to start paying for them. But there are some basic things that you want the database to do. Other places will use spreadsheets, and again, there are some basics you want the software to be able to do, so you need to set it up accordingly. So let's think about the whole thing of what happens when you order something. Just like in any other mail order system, you order what you want. So you fill out an online order or you press purchase or whatever, but there will be a copy of an invoice. So you know what you've ordered and you therefore know what to expect. And you know roughly when it's going to turn up. Now for any warehouse, this has some issues. Notably, you've got to have enough space to be able to deal with the stock. Staffing as well is important because making sure you've got the right people perhaps to unload the stock. Imagine a business that has seasonal peaks, so post office at Christmas, that sort of thing. They have to hire in more staff to accommodate the extra demand. And it might be the same for any business. You might need to bring in people on a Saturday specifically for unloading these goods. So, impacts there. So you know what to expect because you ordered it. You know roughly when it's going to turn up. Okay, so the first thing to do when it turns up is to book it in. Imagine a spreadsheet that you're doing. So you recall your stock spreadsheet and you type in the quantity of new items. You then do a put away sheet, which lists all the stuff you're putting away and, taken from a spreadsheet, their location. And that tells you where to put the stuff. Your scanners do exactly the same thing. When the goods come in, you scan the items or you scan the pallet and it adds it to the inventory. Because of product codes, the inventory system will automatically know the location that those products go to. So it just does a quick search. And all you do on a spreadsheet is exactly the same thing. So you search for product, find out where it goes, allocate accordingly, and then you go put it in the location. Job done. Okay, what else do you need to do? Well, picking. The next thing that happens in a warehouse, obviously, is that you need to pick stock. So how do you know what stock you need to pick? It's simple. Somebody has ordered some goods. So you will have an order come through of some sort or another. Imagine somebody pressing click on the internet buy button. That gets translated into you need to send them this stock. So they'll have filled out a delivery address. They'll have the quantities and the product codes and what have you. So all you then need to do is to take that order, fill out a sheet that has the order details on it once you've checked on your master spreadsheet that everything is where it's supposed to be. And the master spreadsheet will also have product locations. So the order gets rewritten to show the actual stock that you're going to pick and where you're going to pick them from. And it has a delivery address and what have you that you need to send it to already done. Your electronic systems do exactly the same thing. So when it comes off the internet, your stock management system should automatically sort out locations and pick lists, and it will work it on the most efficient route. Yeah, that's the idea anyway. A lot of these auto pick things, you seem to double back on yourself a bit or whatever, but it's working on the least time route. But imagine yourself on the spreadsheet, you'd have to do that yourself. You'd have to, but I assume you'd know your stock well enough to be able to pick it quickly. So off you go and you pick the stuff that you're supposed to. Now, with modern real-time warehousing, you shouldn't get any wrong locations or anything like that, but it does happen. So if you imagine an old paper-based system, you're out and you're out of stock on a location, you just put OS. You put a line through your pick stuff and on the sheet and put OS next to it. Yeah. If there's something completely different there, you just put WL for wrong location. But that's old school. A lot of the modern scanners and stuff will be able to, do that automatically, and you can code accordingly. So once you've then picked all of your stock, you wrap it up in your pallet or you box it or whatever it is that you do, and you go to the dispatch area. Now, if you think about every time that you've picked something or whatever, it's deducting off of the stock. So you need to update your spreadsheet. So take off what you've picked. Again, scanners and stuff and the rest of it will do that automatically. But we're looking at an old style system here. So take off what you picked. Okay, so you've deducted from your stock sheet the stock that you've picked. And you print out a dispatch note, a delivery note, because the customer needs to know what's in the box. So you list everything that you've picked on this delivery note, along with their address and various other bits. If there is any items that you were unable to pick, what you'd do is you'd send them an advisory saying we weren't able to pick this and we've reimbursed the money into your account or something like that. But the main thing that you put in is, on the delivery note, is the items that you've sent. Double check with, that's clear that that's in the box and everything else. And you box it all up and stick it on the lorry. Now, if you're dealing with individuals, an individual item that you've picked, then they'll have already paid for it, perhaps off of Amazon or whatever, or there'll be a PayPal thing. But sometimes when you're dealing with companies, they have a standing account going, a long running account, and then once a month you just invoice them for all the stuff. Yeah, so the other bit of paperwork involved will be an invoice to them, but usually you'll send a copy of an invoice of to the customer. Okay, so that's your paper trail. Now, online systems are linked with your database. So when you click online to purchase, it's an automatic link up with the website to your database, your stock management system. So that's how you can have real time, we've got this many in stock, because it's merged with the company's own systems for stock management. You can buy some simple off-the-shelf stock management, and these are probably what you're going to see when you work in business, these off-the-shelf generic systems that work to manage your stock. Good to understand a few of these things, but the more you see of them, the more you understand they're doing the same thing. Larger companies will have their own systems, and they will have spent something like £1 million or something daft like that getting somebody to go off and write these systems for them, and it will usually come with a 6-month training package. So the authors of the stock management system or the company involved in that will then train the staff on how to use it. Regardless of what happens, there are a few things, whichever system you want to purchase in or to use, there are a few commonalities. Firstly, you need to know how much stock you've got at any one time. Accuracy is important in this. But no matter how accurate the system is, you're still going to need to do the occasional stock check because accidents happen and stuff gets mislabeled. So you need to know how much stuff you've got at any one time, but also you can run queries like what your fast-moving items are, so you can sort and query the stuff by the speed they're going out. What your slow-moving items are, so what's selling, what isn't. You could also do things like, if you've got food or something, it might be important to look at spoilage, when the due dates are coming up, that sort of thing. So your data system should be able to handle this. And depending on whether you're doing a first in, first out, or a last in, first out system or whatever, this is important information that you need to know. Spoilage, wastage, returns are very important. Again, you've got returns paperwork. You book in returns slightly differently, but it's still the same paperwork of, And the other things that you need to know is things like seasonal, trends, that sort of thing. And you can look back over, let's say, 10 years worth of your company's history and work out trends and what happens over a period of time and at what time of year. And this has impact on staffing and other things. So it is worth having a stock management system that is quite flexible, because it has impact on everything, how you run your your lines, how much of each product you have, what your reorder times are, etc. And if you've got a really efficient system, you can run a really efficient warehouse. So your just-in-time happens just when you need it. Stock is replaced, with quite a good level of accuracy. So these are the systems that will be involved. And this is what it's trying to do. Okay? See you next time.